Hey guys, welcome back to the What About AI podcast. I'm Sean Boyce,
James Perkins.
and the topic we want to talk about today is everything that's new and has come out recently about AI agents and what that means for workers and businesses alike. So, more recently, what we've seen from both mainly Anthropic and OpenAI is some pretty significant developments related to AI agents. On the Anthropic side, they've released Agent Teams, which is available to consumers. And on the OpenAI side, they've released what they're calling Frontier, which is only available to some large enterprises. And it's out in practice right now, but essentially kind of both of them are going after a similar style or design where it's everything that is involved with creating, managing, and then enabling agents to basically do the work that's probably previously been done by people. We've started playing around with Anthropic's version. We got some interesting results to share with you there, but other stuff we want to unpack in this episode is what this means for workers. Couple of stats that I'll throw at you right away in terms of the stuff which is in use now in production. This one's specifically about OpenAI's Frontier, again with some of those larger companies, is a manufacturing company has been able to reduce their fulfillment from 6 weeks to a single day. Those are crazy numbers. I've never heard of anything like that before. Another one, an investment firm was able to essentially fully automate all of the activity from its sales team by more than 90%. So some pretty dramatic changes coming from these. And I think some of the implications are that AI agents are projected to kind of receive a significant portion of investment and then growth, which was previously probably reserved for their workforces and people. So let's talk a little bit more about what you think this means for workforces moving forward.
It's not too promising. It's not a good sign for the individuals, right? I think with all the changes, so you mentioned Claude Code Teams or Claude Teams
Agent teams on the Anthropic
and
side. Yep.
OpenAI's
OpenAI's
Frontier. So,
Frontier.
so Frontier is completely business focused.
Enterprise.
I'm not aware, yeah, I'm not aware of Frontier being offered to individual consumers.
That's right.
So you're going to have companies that are ingesting this, building custom agents to do work, and having those agents become your coworker effectively. So if you're accustomed to getting to know your team, bringing people to lunch, or having conversations by the water cooler, you're going to have to learn how to interact with AI agents to do your day to day. And that's not coming, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. That's starting to happen, to Sean's point, in existing companies now. They're starting to implement agents. Frontier's brand new. It's OpenAI's newest model, newest approach to agents, but I, I have seen some significant uptake already in that regard. And then for the Claude aspect, Anthropic Claude, their Cowork product we talked about recently, that allows individual workers to leverage AI agents to go do task complete work. Well, now Anthropic Claude has agent teams where you can train a specialized agent on a skill and you can give it a bunch of details in this skill so it maintains and retains context and can keep doing work without going back to you for direction. And a good way to look at this would be like if you are running a small business right now and you're not really good at marketing or writing ad copy, you don't know how to manage a blog, you could train agents to do that for you and just post every day on your behalf and write good advertisements and do all those things that you're not accustomed to doing on its own with very little direction from you. Right now the agents still have to go back to you for authority based, like making a purchase or transaction. I know Claude's locked down the agents from going to Stripe, for instance, or certain platforms, but it's doing its own self-directed work with initial prompts from you, and that's it's not just the future; it's happening now.
Well said. Yeah, I mean, those stats that we shared, I think, indicate just how much of an impact
Yeah.
this tech is now having on at companies and for their workforce as well. Also, we've started to play around with some of this tech ourselves and share what I think is unique, especially on the specific one I'm referring to here is Anthropic's Agent Teams. But unlike sub agents, which is kind of a previous version of this is Agent Teams is an iteration on that. If I were to draw kind of a diagram for you, there would be a facilitator at the top, which is an agent, and that facilitator can basically create agent team members based on the controls or the instructions that you give it. So you've got an agent, basically like a manager of sub agents, and they're all working both independently on tasks as they're dividing and conquering whatever it is you're asking them to do. And they're not just talking to the facilitator, they're talking to each other, which is really interesting. So to me, the dynamic of where they're taking this tech, and I think this is what companies especially have been hoping for, is for them to operate more like the actual teams of people that they have doing these things today are currently doing. So now you've got that design and the tech being capable of almost everything that you probably had a team of people doing before. And it'd be interesting to see how that kind of plays out moving forward with what these teams or these companies have in mind. And that's where I think we've seen companies come to us as well too for some help about how to leverage this tech and how to redesign it. So we get insights from them about what their goals are, and then we try to basically distill that down and translate that for you in terms of what that means for your work, future of your career. So just like James is saying, learning those skills about interacting with those agents as if they were typical coworker for you, maybe also managing teams of agents, which I think is probably going to be higher priority. But the clients that are coming to us, these businesses are looking to do things like redesign their operating models around agents as opposed to people is kind of one of the asks that we've seen. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit more. But just like I described, kind of the team that you can design and build and then manage using agents um, or people, now they're looking to kind of do the same thing with agents and see what that might look like and how that might change how the company operates.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, we've been teaching a lot of our clients how to manage agents themselves. So learn how to use really the agentic world to their advantage and benefit from all that. But it's not just going to be you as an individual managing agents. You're going to have people managers within your company managing agents that work with you, where you're not going to have any discretion or control over the agent. It's going to have its own purpose and intent, and it's going to rely on you to complete tasks that it's dependent upon. And it'll probably follow up with you to see where you're at and getting things done. It's going to it's a very big shift in the dynamic of the workforce
Yep.
that I don't think folks have mentally adjusted to just yet. And of course, the agents can be trained to be polite and considerate and empathetic, but at the end of the day, it still has to complete its task on time. And if you stand in the way, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, it'll get
So,
flagged.
so you're not going to be taking the agents to lunch, and the agents are going to be flagging you. I don't know about this.
Well,
It's getting tricky.
it's an interesting future we're setting ourselves up for. It's a good point you raise about kind of wrapping your head around this because this has been making me think as well also like what does this actually look like? So it'll be interesting to see how the dynamic changes and shifts, but what we're seeing from the company level and with the research that we've been doing as well too is basically the investments that previously were reserved for the workforce of actual people and into their teams or to grow headcount or hire or whatever is kind of basically being taken. And now it looks like it's heading in the direction of to do essentially the same thing, but hiring and growing teams of agents instead. That's what we're seeing. So in some of the research I did as well too, it's a McKinsey's currently helping companies and by hiring like tens of thousands of AI agents, which that is kind of hard for me to wrap my head around in terms of just what do you have them all doing? How are you setting up and designing all this? And how is all that working kind of thing? But like the stats I shared kind of earlier in this episode, they're starting to see some pretty dramatic like positive results from that investment thus far. So I think that activity is probably like to continue.
Yeah, I would say historically, McKinsey's known for hiring tens of thousands college graduates, right?
Yep.
So now they're hiring tens of thousands agents. I don't know,
Right.
maybe. Um, it's really comes down to knowing how to use the tech. So all the companies we've worked with, we've cleaned up. I don't want to use any big companies' name, but of the big four consulting agencies, we've cleaned up a few messes already, right? It's not just about getting aware of or becoming familiar with the latest AI technology. It's knowing how to use it and actually using it in practice. So a lot of these deployments I've seen companies attempt on their own. The mistake they're making is putting way too much reliance on the AI in advance of its readiness and not knowing what to rely on it for. Because right now, we've talked about Opus 4.6, we talked about OpenAI's Frontier model, ChatGPT 5.3 is coming. These are amazing breakthrough models. They can do pretty much anything um, to some extent. You have to know how to ask it to do something and what questions to pose to it. If you give it a directive, go write this paper, it'll do it, but it won't do it very well. If you ask it, what makes a great article about Edgar Allan Poe and what parts of his life are most interesting, write a paper with that context. That Socratic method teaches the AI agent to basically go a little bit deeper. And knowing how to prompt in that way makes the AI agent so much more productive. So it's knowing how to use the tool, knowing how to prompt the tool appropriately, and then knowing its limitations. I see companies relying on the agents for things that they're not really designed to do yet. They will eventually be able to do it, but the tech isn't there for those components. Or like they'll do. You said funding's getting reshuffled. That's true. There's tons of money moving from new hires to adapting this technology. I think that's a natural part of the cycle. But there's a lot of instances I've seen where they overestimated the capability of the AI, and they've had to go back out and hire more than they were expecting. They're spending on both, not getting the return on investment. If you don't know how to use the AI, you're wasting that spend, and that's a big problem.
Definitely, yeah, we're seeing that with some of the companies, as you mentioned, that we're kind of coming into, and they're trying to boost their ROI and these investments that they're making, make sure they're producing real results. And it's not always there because they're overshooting or they don't quite understand where the tech is at the moment or what its capabilities are and all those types of things. So we see that as well too. So if you guys have any perspectives you'd like us to share or more of this content to produce, definitely let us know. But in terms of next steps and what I think I would recommend as you prepare yourself for what appears to be this coming shift, right? We mentioned there's a lot of stuff underway at the moment. I think we're expected to see more of it. And I think you're going to start seeing agents popping up, working right alongside you, or your company investing in bringing them into the fold. So, but like James said, at the company level, quite a bit of that isn't necessarily going according to plan. So, how do you position yourself for helping them, which ultimately helps you? I would recommend you kind of start getting some experience working with these AI agents sooner rather than later. We've started playing around immediately pretty much with what came out as recently as last week in Anthropic's Agent Teams. And that's been really interesting. I've learned a lot about, how to use it, how to set it up, how to design it, testing the results, tweaking that. So the more I think you play around with that, get familiar with it, you'll start to basically be someone who's on the almost like bleeding edge or earlier, a bit out in front of what it looks like to get value from using these tools. Because just because they hired tens of thousands of agents doesn't mean that the results are going to be there or that they're ready to realistically deploy those agents in a productive way. So they're going to need expertise that comes from people like us and you, of course, as well too, if you start learning how to leverage these technologies, as well as like what they can do well currently, what they can't, and how you set all that up. I think your companies are going to need that kind of help based on what we've already seen work and not
Oh,
work.
100%. Yeah, I think for the coaching side of our business, one of the things I've seen most frequently is folks have no idea where to start. So, well, I know I'm behind, I know I'm missing out on this tech, but what do I have to do first? What we typically do is go into the shop, like, or go into their home if it's an individual client, help them set up Claude Code or OpenAI's Codex, whatever one they want to pay for a premium. It's $20 a month. It's like the lowest level of premium, and you can go all the way up to $200 a month. And once we kind of get them set up with that, it's hard to pick where to start. I usually start with what do you know well, or what do you really enjoy doing? And our most recent client loves chess. So, well, why don't we build a full blown chess game together you can play with your son? And it took about 15 minutes to build a complete working prototype with all the rules of chess. I mean, that's a well known system and structure, and the rules are well known. It's been around forever.
Number combinations, yeah.
Right. So I mean, it wasn't that difficult of a problem to solve, but it was just making that one change, teaching him how to write the command line prompts properly. Since then, because that was 2 weeks ago, I just talked to him yesterday, and he's already automated half of his house. His blinds are going up and down. Like he wrote an entire script to connect all the switch bots in his home. So once you kind of like light that fire and teach folks how to use the tools, that's all you have to do. Just get started. Just find one thing you want to launch or build yourself at home. And if you don't know how to install it, there's people that can help with that. We help with that. There's others out there that do that. Take that leap, and you're on the right track. You're going to be ahead of half the population.
Great place to start. I think we covered this one pretty well. Anything else to add before we wrap up?
Someone in the comments recently had said they want more than 10 or 15 minutes. We're trying to get as much information out there as we can. Ask questions. Send us questions online. We get a ton of emails every day. I respond to almost every email within 24 hours. So does Sean. So don't be afraid to reach out.
Yep, as usual, newsletter is kind of a great place to go for updates and this type of advice from us on a regular basis. And then comments and feedback is really valuable from you guys. So let us know what questions you have. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
all.